Official good
Good
morning,
morning,
everybody.
everybody.
My name
My
is
name is
Lizelle
Lizelle
Curie,
Curie.
and we will be doing the BarnOwl Spotlight session today on incident management. This session is also recorded, so a few days after the session has been completed, it will also be loaded on our website, and you will all have access to that, and you can distribute it to the rest of your team members that cannot be in this session today. You would have noticed that all the cameras have been switched off and the mics have been muted. It is just to avoid any unnecessary background noise. But during the training session, you will be able to post some questions in the chat box. We do have some of our team members that will assist to answer that throughout the session. And then we will also have a Q&A session after I've gone through the agenda for the day. Without um, delaying the process, I will then start the session. I will be switching off my camera for now, and then we will start. All right, so for our agenda today, we will do an overview of the BarnOwl incident management module. We will also go through the different types of incident management registers. We will talk about the assignment of owners to an incident and talk about permissions around that functionality. We will also be looking at point number 4, which is then raising action plans against incidents. We will look at the reassessment, the risk reassessment functionality when an incident is linked to a risk. We will look at point number 6 briefly, where you can go and do a deep dive internal audit investigation into a specific incident. We will then look at the incident management Power BI dashboards and reporting, and then we will conclude and finish off with a Q&A session at the end of the agenda. So just a brief overview of the BarnOwl incident management module. So first of all, the BarnOwl incident management module is already included in the risk management module. So if you have a risk-rich license, that means you will be able to use this incident management module. The incident management module is very flexible, and you will see that when I'm going to demonstrate that in BarnOwl shortly, where you can go and create different types of incidents, and you can also create different custom fields on these incident types, which makes it so powerful. And that is then why the first point on this overview is the flexibility of the incident management module. So you can configure any type with different custom fields in your specific database. It is also secure, so by assigning owners to different incidents, you will then ensure that only those specific users will be able to view those incidents and have access to those incidents. So you can limit it also by the units that they should have access to, but also by assigning those specific owners. Then, of course, you can take action and monitor the progress through the BarnOwl live action plans, which is one of our main functionalities within the BarnOwl software. And you can link those action plans directly to the incidents. It's also integrated with the risk management module, so you can use it with risk management or you can use it separately. And again, when I'm going to show you some of the examples, you will see what I mean with that. So you can go and link a specific loss event or risk incident to a risk when it has materialized, and that will then allow a reassessment trigger to trigger that risk, which will notify the risk owners to say something has changed and you need to now go and re-look at your risk ratings. Then it is also integrated with our internal audit module, where you can go and do a specific audit on that incident, which is typically referred to as a deep dive, and where you can then go and gather additional evidence and load the implicated parties, raise findings on that incident that will then be in that specific internal audit project. And then lastly, we have powerful Power BI dashboards. I will only show you the tip of the iceberg today with some of the examples that we've created, but these reports can also be customized and very powerful for reporting purposes. So next, I'm just mentioning a few of the different types of incidents that you can create within BarnOwl. You will see things like loss events, health and safety incidents, tip-offs, findings. And when I say findings there, that would be if you're not making use of the internal audit module, but you do want to capture those findings, or then findings that were created or logged by external auditors or the Auditor General. You can also create a gifts register, non-compliance incidents, forensic incidents, complaints, fruitless and wasteful expenditure, irregular expenditure. You can capture lessons learned. You can do contract management and so much more. So these are just some of the examples, and I'll show you some of these examples during our session and how we've customized them and created some custom fields on these different types. So don't let these few examples on the screen stop you. The sky is the limit, and you can then create any type of incident within the BarnOwl environment. So you will see I make mention of permissions here. So you will see when it comes to permissions, only incident owners or the originators will have access to those specific incidents. There's also an option on the units where you can go and assign specific owners that will automatically be assigned when you create an incident within that specific unit. And then there's also a licensing option to give users access to the incident module in the BarnOwl web interface. So it's like a lighter version, a more cost-effective version of licensing for users to make use of this BarnOwl web interface incident management module. I am going to just stop my presentation now, and I'm going to move over to BarnOwl. So the rest of the demonstration will then happen on this BarnOwl database that you are seeing now. This is on my, it's a local database, and we call it our ABC database because it's just some sample data and dummy information that sits in here where it has been configured. Of course, you will have your database with your specific risk configuration when you are going to use this functionality. So first of all, let's talk about the organizational structure. So you will see I have ABC Corporation, and for this demonstration, I will be mostly using this topmost unit. I will drill down a little bit further into some of the lower level units in my organizational structure, just to demonstrate to you that you can go and link it to a unit and also link it to multiple units if the incident is then applicable to multiple units. Then we're going to look at the different registers. Now remember, whenever you want to view a register, you will navigate to the view menu at the top. And for risk incidents, you will navigate to risk incidents, and you will then see a lot of registers in this database that I have captured. Some of those that we've mentioned in the slide just before this. So I have created quite a few. You will see there from consequences down to risk incidents, and each one of these incident types will also have a global register as well as a flat register. Now, your database, if you have not configured any specific incidents, you will only have the 3 hard-coded built-in incident types there, which will be the consequence register, which will be your loss events register, and will also be your risk experience register. Those 3 are hard-coded within BarnOwl and will automatically be there. All the rest have been created within the server management console, where you create the type, you can link specific categories to that type, and of course create the relevant custom fields that's required for this incident type. So I'm going to show you a few examples now. The first example I would like to show you will be the loss event register. This is one of the hard-coded ones. So just again, you will go to View, Risk Incidents, and then Loss Event Register. This will then open up your loss event register at the top. The first thing I want you to take note of is that I do have a favorite view loaded. That's why you see that green star there. And remember, the normal favorite view and register functionalities applies to all of these registers, where you can add columns, remove columns, reshuffle, sort, filter, group, and of course then export if you needed to. So all the normal standard functionality will be applicable in all of the incident registers as well. So here's just a few examples that we have captured within this specific unit. So you will see we have some data loss, we have theft of a laptop, loss of key staff, stock theft, financial loss. And each one of these could be linked to one or to multiple units. So you will firstly see the loss event title, and then you can see what it is linked to, and that is your linked object type. So in this case, these ones that I'm displaying on the screen now are all linked to units. And there where you see many, it would be more than one unit that those specific loss events are linked to. You can then also see your statuses, the occurrence date, and I've also included the root cause here in this specific view. You will see I have created different favorite views. So if I just select the other one that I've created, you can also see the loss amounts for these specific loss events that were created, as well as the categories and then the relevant process name. So I'm going to demonstrate to you now how you would capture an incident that is linked to a unit. I will also do another example shortly after this, where we will link it directly to a risk, which will then, of course, trigger the reassessment trigger to relook at the risk ratings. So when you are within the, when you are within the loss event register, or within any incident register, you can right-click anywhere in the blank space. You will navigate to create/link, risk incidents to unit, because you're putting an incident within this unit, and we are specifically capturing a loss event. This will open your create/link risk incident loss event screen, and all the incidents that you see on the left-hand side are incidents or loss events that have been captured within this database, but is not currently linked to this specific unit. If you need guidance, you'll always see at the top there it says risk incident records not linked to this unit. I do want to specifically say that this is not a library. Remember, an incident is similar to an action plan where it is a live object. So this is not a library where you go and search for a specific incident. This is existing incidents within the database. The reason why it's not a library is because you could have an incident with the same name or title at a different stage. Let's use the example of load shedding. During a time there was load shedding 3 or 4 times a day, and that could interrupt, your business, and you could then go and log an incident every time load shedding affected or had an impact on your business operations. So the title could be load shedding, but then the details would be that it was a different date, a different time, and it affected different areas of your organization. The incidents that you see on the right-hand side of the screen will be all incidents or loss events that have already been added to this specific unit. We are going to capture a brand new one now in this demonstration. So at the top next to the search bar, you will see there's a blue hyperlink that says capture a new risk incident. I will then click on capture new risk incident, which will then open up the risk incident capture form. Now for the demonstration, I will maximize the screen so that you guys can see a little bit better. Just remember that is not mandatory. You could just continue to work in the form as it was. So let's first look at all the bold fields. Remember, when you see a bold field, it means it is a mandatory field. So title, status, category, and subcategory are mandatory fields within this form. And if you do not complete those fields, you will get an error message when you try and click on save and close to force you to go and complete those fields. All right, so let's say, for example, for our loss event, I'm going to say we had equipment damage from a fire that was maybe in our warehouse. So remember your title, short, sweet, to the point. You will see type is automatically loss event. It is grayed out. You cannot change it because we are in the loss event register. Then you will see that it says description, and this is then the detailed description of this specific incident or loss event. So I'm going to say right, there was a fire in the warehouse, and you will see as I type, I made spelling errors. So just so that you know a little bit of extra information, there is a basic spell checker in BarnOwl as well. You will see it highlighted with that red little squiggle. So I can just right click and then quickly fix those spelling errors as I was typing too fast there. So remember, the description would then be a detailed description of your incident or your loss event. So I just said there was a fire in the warehouse that caused damage to essential equipment on 5 August. I didn't have to put in the date there because there is also a field that says occurrence date. And from there, sorry, I know I'm jumping a little bit downwards, but from there you can click on the drop down arrow, which will open up the calendar, and I could have selected the 5th of August as the occurrence date there. And so the description will be a detailed description of what happened. You could say, you know, there will be replacement costs of 10,000 Rand, and, you know, we will put in an insurance claim, or whatever information you need to put in here to describe the incident and the details around it. Let's look at the status. The status on this database is new matter in progress and then finalized/closed. These statuses can be customized for your needs. So if you only want an open and closed status, then it can be configured like that. If you do need additional statuses, you can go and add additional statuses for this for the incidents here. So I'll just save, because this is now a new matter. I can then go and select new matter, and then we already touched on the occurrence date, where you will then click on the little drop down arrow, which will open up the calendar where you can go and select the date that this started on. Then when you look at the originator, you will see it defaults through to the person who's capturing this specific incident or loss event, which is myself at this stage. But bear in mind, you can go and change the originator. The reason why you would want to change an originator is because the originator would also have access to this specific loss event. So this is also based on permissions then, whether you want to change the originator or not. To change the originator, you would simply click on the three little dots next to the originator name, and you would then go and select the relevant person from the list. You will also see this loss event because this is one of the hard-coded built-in incident types. There are three amounts there, so you could then go and put in the rand value of the specific amount that was lost. So in this case, we can say, okay, it's 50,000 rands worth of a loss event there. You could also put in business interruption. So you can say, okay, it took us a week to get the new equipment and we couldn't work in our warehouse to manufacture the stock, as an example. And that means we've lost 30,000 rands worth of sales or manufacturing of our products. You could also add material damage, and this would be anything additional to the amounts here at the top. So let me give another example. Let's say, for example, a laptop was stolen, but they didn't just steal the 10,000 rand worth of laptop, they also broke a window, and that could be then the cost of the window that was broken. These fields are not mandatory, and you will only complete them if they are applicable to your specific loss event that you are logging. Then at the bottom, our last two mandatory fields here is category and subcategory, where you can then go and customize this again according to your needs. So in this database, our categories are people, process, and systems. So in this case, we'll select process, and then I have to select a subcategory, and we will then say it was the implementation process. So there were no fire extinguishers or whatever the case might have been that caused the fire. Then I'm going to navigate to the More tab at the top. So you'll see there's multiple tabs. So I'm going to click on the More tab, and you will see we've created some additional custom fields for the loss events. So you will see there it says process name. I'm going to say this is the health and safety process. And we can then say, will this be claims incident? So are we going to claim from insurance? And then I can go and tick that field. We've created a field for document with a picture where you can go and attach an image here. I just want to mention, you will see you cannot attach the image yet. The reason for that is to attach a document, the object needs to exist first, which means we need to first save it. So I'll quickly just save. I'm not going to save and close. So I'm just quickly clicking on save and then just edit again. And there you will see there's your document with a picture. And then you can click on that document button. Click on the big green plus that says attach documents. And you will then be able to go and attach a specific document. You can attach any type of document. So Word, Excel, PDF. I'm not going to attach one, or let me quickly just attach a Word document there, just so that you can see that when you attach a document, you get a little plus sign over it to indicate it to you. So like I said, PDF, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, an image, a video, an email, any type of document, and you can also attach multiple documents. So if there were multiple images of the damage that was caused by the fire, you could go and attach all those images there. So I'm just saying there, refer to the attached document for damages caused. And we've also added a field for user manager. So the reason why we've added these different fields is to show you that you can add different type of fields. This is a normal text box. That is a tick box. This one is a multi-line text box where you can add lots of characters and then also attach documents. This one is a user list a field. So if you click on the ellipsis, you can then go and select a specific person from that list. And then I'm also showing you the review status, which is then a drop down arrow. So this is then just a few examples of the different types of custom fields that can be created on these incidents. So for example, we can say our review status is ready for management comment. I will then navigate to the Owners tab at the top. The Owners tab is where you will go and assign the owners. Remember, you can assign multiple owners to an incident as well. So I am going to right click in this blank space, select owner, and then I will go and select the relevant owners. So let's say I will make myself an owner, and I will also go and select Ali, and I will also go and select, let's say, this internal audit preparer user that we have. The owners that you see on here will be linked to your Active Directory. So if they exist in your Active Directory, these owners will be able to be, you will be able to select them. And just bear in mind, you have a search function there at the top. So if you want to search for a specific user. I will then click on OK, and you will see all three my owners have been added. Don't forget about our owner types, which is RACI, and that is then responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. So you can then go and say, this is the accountable user, Lizelle will be the responsible user, and this preparer will only be informed on the progress of this incident as an example. So that is then how you would add owners. I will then navigate to the Units tab at the top. The Units tab will indicate to you if this incident belongs to multiple units or exists or have an impact on multiple units. Because I've created it on the ABC Corporation unit, you will then see that the ABC Corporation unit is automatically included in here. But you can go and right click in the blank space, select unit, and then also go and search for another unit. So for example, if I want to use this assets one in Durban, I can go and select it, and I will use this arrow to move it downwards to add it to that assets unit within my organizational structure. And there you will see it's also affected assets within Durban. I'm now going to click on Save and Close. And you will see that it created my incident. If I click on Save and Close again, you will then see there is my equipment damage from fire, and it has many units because I've selected 2 units that it belongs to. So I'm currently on the loss event register. I also want to show you the flat register. So the flat registers is the parent unit and all the children underneath. So if I'm on the ABC Corporation unit, it will include the loss events for ABC Corporation, as well as all the child units, and I do want to say grandchildren because it drills down to the lowest level, and it will show you all those loss events as well. So to view any register, again, you will navigate to View. I'm going to navigate to Risk Incidents, and my loss events are here at the bottom, so Flat Loss Event Register. Loss event registers will automatically be grouped by the unit path, and you will also see it's divided into 2 parts. So you will see all the incidents in a register format at the top, and whichever one you click on here, those details will be displayed below. So for example, I clicked on theft of laptop, and I can then see the details of that loss event, and I can see there's an action plan linked to that specific loss event as well. So this is then your flat view. You can always ungroup by the unit path. I've again created some favorite views for us. So I just want to show you if it's not grouped by the unit path. And I can also hide this bottom part by clicking on the binoculars in the top right corner that says Hide Item View Register. There I can now see all my loss events. So if I want to sort and I want to say, okay, I want to see all my new matters, I can go and group it. I can see these are the finalized ones, these are in progress, and there's all the ones that are still new, and we need to still do things there. It could be in progress, we could be investigating the matter a little bit further, and then I can also see all my closed events there. So if I just quickly drag this one a little bit bigger, you will see there's my equipment damage from fire. You will see it appears twice. The reason for that is it belongs to two units. Remember, I've added it to ABC Corporation as well as Durban Assets, and that's why you will see that it says assets there. All right. You can open it up from this register or from any register by double clicking on it. And I can then go and say, okay, well, we've progressed a little bit, and I can say in progress. You can always create a custom field that says progress note on this specific incident, but the best way to do this would probably be to go and create an action plan linked to it for actions that need to happen. It is a one-to-many relationship. In other words, you can link multiple action plans to one incident. And I will do that, demonstrate that to you now. So if I go back to my loss events register and use my equipment damage from fire, I can then right click on the incident I want to link the action plan to, right click. Then I'm going to say create/link, and then I'm going to say action plan to risk incident. I'm going to capture a brand new action plan. So there at the top, the blue hyperlink that says capture a new action plan. And again, I will maximize the screen for the demonstration purposes. I will then go and say my action is submit an insurance claim for the fire damages. So that's what I want to do. I need to go and ask someone to go and submit an insurance claim for the fire that was in our warehouse. Your reference is not a mandatory field, and then you get your description, which will always be a detailed description. You don't want someone to phone you 10 times and send you 20 emails just to understand what they need to go and do. So this will then be a detailed description of the specific action then. I'm not going to go into too much detail into the action plans. It's the normal standard action plan functionality. So you will see your status is there. It's a brand new one, so we're not updating that yet. The two important ones is then your start date and end date. So our fire was on the 5th. So we will then say on the 6th, we already wanted to submit this claim, and we want this to be finalized and everything paid out by the 30th of September, for example. I want you to take note of the owners at the bottom of the screen. You will see your owners are automatically included in there. This is a setting within Server Management Console. So all your incident or loss event owners will automatically be added as action owners. If they are not the action owners and it belongs to somebody else, or you need to remove someone from the list, you will right click, select owner, and then just, for example, go and remove the users that should not be there. Once you've captured the action plan, you can then click on save and close at the top. Remember, you can assign an action plan to anybody within your organization with a valid email address, so they don't need a license to go and open up and update that action plan. It's part of our free functionality, our free module, so they can access the BarnOwl web interface, open up the action plan where they've been assigned as an owner, and they can then go and update progress notes and update the status of that action. I am back in my loss event register, and I just want to show you when I click on the little plus sign next to it to expand on that loss event, you will see there is the linked action plan to my loss event that I've just created. So standard action plan functionality where you can then link that to the loss event. I'm going to show you one or two more examples. The way that you would capture it would stay the same, but I just want to show you the flexibility of the different custom fields in the different types of incidents that we've created on this database. I'm going to just close these two registers, and then I'm going to open up the fruitless and wasteful expenditure register. So if I click on view at the top, navigate to risk incidents, I'm going to select fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Here you will see some of our fruitless and wasteful expenditure examples, things like expired stock, unused licenses, unplanned travel costs, and then late payment penalties to ABC supplier. Apologies. I also have different favorite views. Remember, for each register, you can go and create different favorite views. So let's say, for example, with fruitless and wasteful expenditure, you do want to view the amount, the rand value of what the wastage was as well. And you can then go and customize those views for yourself. I'm going to open up one of these. So I'm going to just open up unplanned travel costs as an example. And again, let me just maximize the screen for the demonstration. So you will then see the normal field here. So your front page, your main tab, will always have your title, the type, description, status, and a current state. You will see your originator, a rand value, and your categories and subcategories. So you will just see there Mr. X missed his flight to Cape Town on the 3rd of August, resulting in additional travel costs to buy a new flight. I'm going to move to the More tab just to show you that these are different custom fields to our loss event that we have looked at. So you will see there's a fruitless and wasteful expenditure amount. So we can go and say, okay, it cost us 6,000 Rand more. And then you can then go and say, is a recovery recommended? Now, I do want to show you the flexibility of conditional formatting on these custom fields. So if I select no, nothing else happens. So there's no recovery recommended. But if I then select yes, you will see two additional fields appear where you can then go and say the amount recovered. So if you are going to recover a specific amount from Mr. X, and then just the details of this. So we can then go and say, okay, we could recover 2,000 Rand of this from Mr. X, and we could then go and say, as agreed, it will be taken from his September salary, something like that. Okay. So I'm just showing you the conditional functionality on when you say yes or no, there could be the possibility of additional fields popping up. I've done the same with criminal case. So even though might not be a criminal case, if I say no, no additional fields appear. But if I select yes, there is another field that pops up that says criminal case details. So again, very flexible, and it can really assist the process flow as well on what you need to do and what you need to capture within your specific incidents. I am going to say save and close now because I've made a change there. And that is then an example of the fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Let me show you one more example of our risk incidents. So let me show you the flat incident register. So if I click on view, risk incident, and then I've created a type called flat risk incident register. So remember, it shows you the parent and all child unit incidents then. And you will see there's a few of our risk incidents that were captured. So system downtime, and then fraudulent financial transactions, employee injury on premises, a few of our risk incidents. I do want to open one of these again just to show you that the custom fields are different because it's a different incident type. So here we've created root cause. So the incident took place because the floor was wet, and then the root cause categories are people and process. Okay, so again, just showing you the flexibility of the custom fields within these different incident types. The next example I want to show you is when you capture an incident to a risk. So all the examples I've showed up until now was where all of these incidents simply sat on one of the units within your organizational structure. I'm going to show you now how you would go and capture a reassessment trigger on the risk. Okay. Again, I'm going to just close these registers, and I am going to do this example on my, let's do it on the Johannesburg HR unit, okay? Because I know there's some risks that I've captured there as examples. So we want to link this incident to a risk. So this time we will first view the risk register. I will click on View at the top, Risks, and then Risk Register. There you will see all the risks currently within this specific unit. And what we want here is then the exclamation mark next to these risks. The exclamation mark next to the risks means a reassessment is needed on this risk. And what that means is something that is linked to this risk changed. This could be a control rating that has changed, a new control or contributing factor, a key indicator that is linked to this specific risk, and then, of course, if a new incident has been logged against this risk. Now, the one that I want to use already has an exclamation mark there. So if you just quickly, I just quickly want to go and remove it so that you can see that it triggers immediately. So I am just quickly going to open up that risk, and I'm just going to save and close that, that the reassessment has been done. And I'll demonstrate it all to you just now. All right, so the risk I want to use is the lack of ability to attract and retain new talent. Please take note that there's no reassessment, so there's no red exclamation mark in front of this risk. So if I want to link an incident directly to this risk, I will right click on it. I will navigate to create/link. I'm going to navigate to risk incident, and then I'll have to select the type of incident I want to link to this risk. So for this example, I will specifically go and select risk incident. And I'm going to click on capture a new risk incident in the top right hand corner. And again, let me just maximize for the demonstration. So remember, our risk is lack of ability to attract and retain new talent. You can also see this at the very top, that light blue line where you will see risk incident capture, and it's linked to that risk called lack of ability to attract and retain new talent. Remember about all your bold fields that are mandatory. And I will then go and say we had a loss of a key staff member. The description would be the details of this key member. It could also maybe describe the impact that it had on the organization. For the demonstration, I will just quickly copy and paste that, and I will say there was no proper handover, which resulted in operational delays, something like that. So all the details around this loss, this incident. I will go and select new matter as my status. I can say the occurrence date. Let's say, for example, this happened at the end of last month, so the 31st of July. And I will go and say at this stage, I'm not going to put in an amount there. And my category is people. It's not fraud. We'll just say labor there as an example. Remember, we do have custom fields under our More tab. So I could just say no hand over process in place. All right. And our category would be people. I will then click on Save and Close to save this incident. and you will see immediately my risk has been triggered. So I didn't even have to wait, I didn't even have to refresh. You will immediately see that that red exclamation mark is already there. If I hover my mouse over it, it says reassessment needed on this risk. So it means something changed. Now I'm going to open up this risk by double clicking on it. Apologies. And then let me again maximize the screen. In the top right hand corner, you will see the little tick mark, and that is then where the red exclamation mark for the reassessment comes from. And we want to see the reassessment details now. So when I click on reassessment details in the top right hand corner, it will show me everything that has changed. Now in this example, the only thing that has changed would be the new loss event incident that I have linked to this specific risk. But if there were multiple incidents, you will see them there. If there were also other changes, like changes in control effectiveness ratings, you would have seen those in here as well. So we can then see, well, there is then a loss event that has happened. We can go and open it up to see some of the details. We can see, okay, that's what happened. Let's look at the root cause. And then based off all of this, we can then go and make an informed decision whether our risk ratings need to change. Once you have made the informed decision, so I'm just quickly going to select the rating there. You can also go and untick that little tick mark because we have reassessed this risk now. And then I will click on save and close. So when you log an incident to a risk, the reassessment trigger will pop up, and it will ask the owner of the risk to relook at the ratings of the risk. There is an email notification that can be sent out for this. It must just be switched on in Server Management Console. So that is then the reassessment trigger. The next example I want to show is then let's navigate then to, let's say, the IT unit where we have a risk there. And I've also linked I haven't linked it yet. I'm going to link a cyber security attack or breach incident here. So I'm going to just say create/link risk incident to risk. And again, I'll say risk incident, capture a new one, and I will then go and say cyber security breach. I'm going to click on save and close, and again save and close, again just to show you there's my reassessment trigger immediately, and you can then also see the linked incident, risk incident, when you expand on that risk. Now, for a cybersecurity breach, this could be a critical event that happened within your organization, and your internal audit team might want to drill down and go and investigate and do a deep dive into this specific incident. Okay, was it internal tampering? Was there internal assistance? Was it processes that's not in place? What were the root causes, and obviously raise relevant findings where applicable. So you can go and create an audit directly from this incident. You have to be in the incident register. So I will just go and view the incident register. So view risk incident and then risk incident register. And there you will see is my cyber security breach. When you right click on this incident, you will navigate to capture, and you will see there's an option for audit project. You will only be able to do this if you have an internal audit module license. So it is permission driven. So you do need an internal audit license. So I will just go and say this is ad hoc, just as my title, and then just say it's a cyber security breach of 12th August 2024 that we're going to investigate. You will go and complete your normal start and end dates, You will select your project type, which will load your project file organizer, and you will then see the incident here is already included there, and it's already on the unit that I was currently working on. So you will see it's on Joburg IT, and then the incident is cybersecurity breach. You have to add yourself as a, well, not yourself as a resource, but at least one resource, and then save and close. You will see it pops up with a window that says this project has been successfully created. Would you like to open it now? And I am going to select yes, just to show you what it would look like. So it will load your normal project file organizer, and you will then see under your unit, which is Joburg IT, you will have that yellow triangle, that warning triangle, which is then your incident. And there you will see the incident. You can double click on it to open it up and view more details of that incident. And then, of course, you can right click and capture findings linked to this. Okay, so outdated processes. I'm just quickly selecting the mandatory fields here. So you can then log findings and save and close. And there's my finding that is linked to my incident. Right. So normal standard internal audit functionality would apply here. So you can then go and do a deep dive and go and investigate this specific incident a little bit more. This is obviously very handy for especially fraud incidents where you need to go and gather some additional information. So that is then looking at audit projects. The next functionality I do want to make mention of is I spoke about adding owners to the incidents, and then only the owners and the originators will see these incidents and be able to open them up and work in them. However, you can also go, if you know for a specific unit, a person will always be the owner of an incident. For example, the head of the department or a specific manager within that area, you can go and add them as a default user on the unit. And that means whenever incident gets created, they will be added as an owner. They can still be removed afterwards if there's one or two scenarios where they shouldn't be added, but let me show you that now. So you would navigate to the relevant unit within your organizational structure. So I'll just use this IT one as an example. I will then go and right click on the unit, and I will select edit unit. On the right hand, let me just maximize the screen again. On the right hand side of this unit edit window, you will have a tab that says default owners. Default owners, you will click on that, and then you will see that it says risk incident type. When you click on that drop down arrow, you will go and select the relevant incident type that you want to add these default owners to. So let's say, for example, I'm going to click on loss event. That's the incident type. And then there where it says select the users who will be assigned to new risk incidents by default. So in this blank space, you will right click and select default owners. Again, your Active Directory users will pop up. You will have your search function at the top, and you will then use the green arrow on the left-hand side to move the person to the right-hand side. So I'm adding myself and Ali as default owners to these to this specific loss event. You can add multiple users like you've seen I've just done, and I will click on OK in the top left corner. There's my two owners. I could also specify my owner type. So I could go and say Lizelle will always be responsible and Ali will also always be informed. And remember, this is per incident type. So this will only be the owners by default if we capture a loss event on the IT unit within Johannesburg. Then I will click on Save and Close. Let me demonstrate this. So I'm going to open up the loss event register. So View, Risk Incidents, Loss Events. I will then right-click, Create/link, Risk Incident to Unit, and then Loss Event. I'm going to capture a brand new one, so capture a new risk incident in the top right-hand corner. And let's say, for example, theft of laptop. Let me complete my mandatory fields. Sorry, I just want to maximize for you guys again. And then if I go to the Owners tab, you will see that my two default owners are, and as well as their owner types. You can still go and right click, select owner, and go and assign another owner as well. And if in this case one of these owners should not be there, again you can right click owner and remove the person that should not be there. So even though these owners are added then by default for this specific incident type, for this specific unit, let me just click on save and close. You can go and amend it. I just quickly want to show you, if I then go to finance as an example and I capture incident there, I just want to show you under the owners tab, there's no owners added there because this functionality is then per incident type, per unit. Okay, so it's right click and then edit unit and then default owners where you would select the incident type. This is permission driven, so everybody usually does not have access to edit the organizational structure. So if you do not have access to do this, you will have to contact your BarnOwl administrators to just assist you with that. Right. Now remember, any one of your registers can be used for reporting as well. So if I'm just quickly going to just jump back to my ABC Corporation, and I'm going to just show you my flat loss event register again. So if you want, I'm just going to view my different view there. So you can go and use any one of these registers as reports as well. They can be exported. Remember, your standard functionality is applicable where you can remove a field by simply dragging and dropping it off the screen. So let's just show that. You can right click and go to the field chooser. Sorry, it always jumps to my other screen. I'm using multiple screens, and add in a field again if you want to. You can reshuffle them. So for example, I can move the column and it's just a drag and drop action. You can resize the columns, and then you can also, of course, group, which we've seen by grouping it by unit. And you could also add a filter. So let me just quickly show the filter functionality. These are all the normal standard register functionalities. But if you need to filter, you can click on Show Filter button at the top. You can click on the funnel that says click here to add filter criteria, and then you will add the filter criteria. So there where it says choose field, you will click on the drop down arrow. I'm going to filter on the status. And then I'm going to say equal. You could have said, greater than, less than, in between, contains, depending on what you want to do. But I want to see all my statuses that says in progress. And there you will see it shows me all my loss events with the in progress status. I can then remove that filter by clicking on the little funnel with the red cross that says remove filter. Remember, you can then go and export this. So there it says export register. The tip I can give there would then be what you see is what you get. So whatever you currently see on the screen, that will be exported into Excel. So I can click on export. You will see it says current layout. You could have it collapsed or expanded. I'm going to export it to Excel. I do prefer Excel. It's already in columns, and you can obviously create additional pivots or graphs or charts from there if you needed to. And then I am just going to say export the text there and click on OK. I'm just going to save it to my desktop. It will generate, and in the bottom right hand corner it will say report ready, and I will double click on it to open it up. It also jumps to my other screen, so let me just quickly drag it across. There we go. So what you see is what you get. Let me also just zoom in a little bit there. So you will then see all the details in here. So there you go. Everything has been exported that was in your, or that you viewed. So remember the tip, what you see is what you get. The other reporting functionality I want to show you is our BarnOwl Power BI reports. Again, this is done on one of our ABC databases. So you will see all the relevant data of that Power BI dashboard. So I'm just going to open that up. Before I continue, I do want to just make a few comments on Power BI reports. The two dashboards or sheets that I am going to show you now is part of our standard report pack. In other words, it's free. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to get an additional purchase order for it. If you are not using it yet, you must definitely get our standard report packs for Power BI. You do not need a license to open up Microsoft Power BI. It makes use of the free desktop version. You simply need to download it on your machine. In other words, you can't open up an Excel document if you do not have Excel loaded on your laptop. The same with Power BI. You cannot open up the Power BI reports if you do not have it loaded on your machine. So it's Microsoft Power BI, the free desktop version. You will see there's multiple sheets here at the bottom. I'm only going to touch on loss event dashboard and loss event register, but you would see that all the others are there, and I'm specifically in the risk management standard one. There is also an internal audit one, and again, if you're not making use of them yet, please contact your account manager so that you can start using those Power BI reports, those standard packs. Any customizations on these reports will be quoted on. However, if you do have somebody internal in your organization that has Power BI knowledge, they can obviously design these reports and make amendments for you as well. So what you currently see on the screen is then the loss event dashboard sheet here at the bottom. You will also see the header here at the top. And below that, you will see the slices. Now, slices is a Power BI terminology. A lot of us will refer to it as filters, but these are then filters specifically on the sheet that we are looking at, where you can then go and select the specific unit that you want to work on. So we've looked at Joburg, for example. There's all the units there. I'm just going to keep it on all for now because I don't have too many incidents here, and I do want us to see nice views, but I'll drill down shortly. You could also go and select the categories. You could go and select the subcategory, and then of course specify the occurrence dates. So if you want to see a specific date range, so you want to see from for Q1, you will go and specify the start dates and end dates in there. The next thing I just want to mention of Power BI reports is Power BI reports' main purpose is for interactive reporting. In other words, it is you click on something and you drill through and you drill down and you get more information on it, where you can go and export this. It's almost like taking a picture, I want to say a PDF, and then you can view the data from there. So it can be exported, but it is more for interactive reporting. So click on this, click on that, to go into the relevant information that people are asking when you present these reports. All right, so let's look at our first one. The first one is our loss event by unit visualization, and you will see your units here at the bottom. So Bloemfontein, Cape Town, Durban, East London, Johannesburg, and you will see it by status. So you'll see the legend there with the colors of the statuses as well. When you click on one of these visualizations, let's say a bar chart within one of these, it will update the rest of the visualizations in this report. So they are all linked to each other. So all of these are linked to each other. So for example, if I click on the 3 here where it says Johannesburg, please take note when I click, all these other visualizations below will update. So I click on the 3 for Johannesburg, and then you can see the period that this happened in. So we had one for the 20th of June, 1st of March, and then the 13th of June 2018. One belongs to the fraud subcategory, another to the design subcategory, and all of them are in an in progress status. If I click on the 3 again, it will remove the focus on that area and it will then update the rest. If I, for example, only want to see the new matters, I can then click on the new matters status here, and again you will see it updates the rest of the visualizations. To remove that focus on that, I simply click on it again. And this is then the same for any one of the visualizations. Let's quickly click on the fraud one. I can see fraud was then in Johannesburg unit and it is still in progress. So these are interactive reports that you can click on, and you can also drill down and drill through. So you will see I can right click on this specific 3 in Johannesburg, and I can then go and say drill down, which will then drill down into the lower levels, so the child units underneath Johannesburg. So I will see one sits in finance unit, one in the inventory unit, and 2 within the HR unit. So that is then when you drill down. I can then go drill down further. I do know, unfortunately for this example, I do not have more units underneath, but I can drill down, drill back up. So you will also see in the top right hand corner there it says drill up, and I can drill up and go back to my original view. If you want to view a specific graph or chart here a little bit better, you can also focus on it by clicking on focus mode in that visualization. So in the top right hand corner, you will see it looks like a little block with an arrow. I can click on focus mode, and there I can see all the details nicely in there. Top left hand corner is a button that says back to report, and I can click on that to go back to my specific sheet. I'm now going to go to the loss event register sheet here at the bottom. You will see you have similarities here. So you will also see the donut chart of subcategory and status, also your periods. But up here we have a detailed table. So it gives you a little bit more details of the specific loss events. So for example, if I click on loss of key staff here, you will see that it was logged in November 2018, and it belongs to my labor subcategory, and it has been finalized. I can then click on it again to remove that filter. So very similar. This one has a bar chart here showing you per unit and per status of the loss events, and then the loss event register also has a register option here. Note that you can scroll down to see the rest of those loss events. Right. So that is then our Power BI functionality. Please feel free to play around with it. And again, I just want to mention, if you do not have a Power BI standard report pack, please contact, log a ticket, our normal process, support at barnowl.co.za, and include your account manager so that you can get those standard reports. All right. I am then going to just open up my final slide here for us. It's on my other screen. Let's quickly do that. Oops, quickly, sorry. Never opens where you want it to open. All right. So in summary, the incident module is available if you have the risk management module. So you will be able to capture these incidents if you have a risk-rich license. And don't forget about the more cost-effective option for it's not light licenses, it's incident management licenses, where anybody in your organization can then use the incident management function. Okay. It's very, very flexible. And as you've seen, you can create these different types of incidents and the different custom fields on there. And you can link action plans to these incidents, which makes them even more powerful so that you can do live tracking of the actionable items there, tasks. And yeah, it's not just for risk management, it's not just for incident or for internal audit, it's not just for compliance. Even though it can tie into all of those modules, it can also be used in silo, just as an incident management module. So just some of the next steps then. If you have any specific questions, like I've said, same with the standard report pack, you can then just send a ticket, an email to log a ticket with our support desk. So support@barnowl.co.za. And please include your account manager then as well. And then just another note that any customizations or report development or training can then be done on a quoted base. Again, please contact your account manager for more details and to just discuss the options around that. And that is then the presentation from my side. I have not had a chance to look at the chat box. I am going to just allow for any questions to come through, and then you guys can just let me know if there are any questions. Let me also take a look at the I do see our team has answered some of the questions that has popped up. Cheryl, if you can just assist with the unmuting of the microphones, please. And then Robert, I see your hand. Robert, you can go for it. I think you can unmute now.
Yes, I can. Thanks, Lizelle. Lizelle, just two questions I've got on my side. The risk incident titles, is there a way to not make that the key field? And why I'm saying that is the risk incident titles, I'm talking specifically now on our side, and I don't know if it's specific to just us or in general, we're not allowed to put in duplicates. So if you say theft of laptop, and later on you've got another incident a month later and you say theft of laptop again, it's not going to take it. It's not allowing us for duplicates.
So Robert, yeah, so those fields are mandatory fields, and at this stage there isn't a functionality where you can, I want to say, in Server Management Console to switch it off. So it needs to be unique at this stage, yeah.
Okay,
if that is a requirement, we can look into that, and we can log a feature suggestion for that.
Sure, no, that's fine. And then the other question I've just got is the BI functionality. Obviously, you would know we've had quite a lot of discussions surrounding that already, Lizelle, with your team and our team and so on. Now, at the end, as I understand it, the BI functionality is definitely working more with the BarnOwl warehouse than actually BarnOwl Evolution, the live version, because the live version is not as easily linkable to Power BI. Am I correct if I say that, Lizelle?
So Robert, the warehouse is has its own advantages. Now, I'm also, just because I know your environment, your reporting will be done of the warehouse because you guys make use of specific dates, and that's one of the advantages of that. If a customer has not set up their data periods within BarnOwl, please also contact us so that we can assist you with that to set up automatic data periods. But then it would be make the the tracking, I almost want to say the trends, a lot more difficult if no data periods has been set up. So you do not need the warehouse to use these standard report back. So the standard report back for Power BI reports are written directly off of the database and not off the warehouse. So I think, just to answer your question, it really depends on the needs of the client, on whether you would use the warehouse or if you would use the development directly from the database.
Okay, noted. Thanks, Lizelle.
Thanks, Robert. All right, I see there's another hand. Mario, you can go for it.
Hi, good day. Thanks. I just have two questions also. The one is, you say if you have the REITs license, risk management license, you automatically will have access to the incident management, what you were showing now.
That is
Is that
correct,
so?
Mario. Yes, Mario, that
Okay.
is correct. So the incident module is automatically included in the risk management module. Yes.
Okay. Now, if I have only 5 REITs licenses, does that mean only 5 people will have access to that module, incident module?
So the
Because
five
you
users.
also, yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
sorry, Mario. So the 5 users will be able to access it and capture it, yes. But yeah, so if you only have those 5 licenses, then we have the
Okay.
incident licenses, which then could allow, bulk, your whole organization basically to have access to those incidents. But remember, you can still link an action plan to those incidents, and you do not need a license to access those linked action plans.
Okay, because I see we also have, say, for example, 10 light licenses. Those 10 light licenses won't have access to the incident
No,
module
they
that you
will
just
have,
showed now.
those light licenses will have access to the incident management module.
They
So
will.
it's yes, light ones, but sorry, let me just rephrase. So your all your rich licenses will have access to the incident management module. That is then rich license and in internal audit, and your light licenses will also have access to the incident management module, but the open licenses, that free functionality, does not have access. That is only then for voting and action plans.
Okay, thanks. My second question is a little bit more technical. So you have your types of incident registers that you showed us: loss events, health and safety, and then you also had this fruitless and wasteful expenditure.
Mhm.
Now, but you also say we can also include more water safety incidents.
Absolutely.
Can we do that
Yes.
one?
Yes, you can. So the examples that I've put in here are really just some examples. And if you want to have specific incidents, like you say, water incidents, you go and create a type, call it water incidents. If you want a specific one on IT related incidents, which I know a lot of our customers do, you can then have IT incidents as a specific type. There's no limitation.
Yeah.
So if you have 2 additional ones or 20 additional ones or 50 additional ones, you can go and customize it according to your needs.
Must we customize it ourselves, or will BarnOwl do it for us? Or how does it
So
work?
So it really depends on the amount of work that needs to be done. So we can provide guidance for your administrators to capture it. It's really not difficult. But if it's maybe 20 types, then you'll have to talk to your account manager and then the amount of fields that need to be created. And then it can be quoted from there. But I just want to mention all the administrators will have the functionality to do it within your database.
Okay, no, thanks. So the list that you showed us, is that all, you only said there's only 3 registers as a standard.
Correct. So there's the hard-coded one is loss event. So that's the
Hard-coded,
first
yes.
one there. You will also see
Yes.
one that's consequences, but that's your consequences that's linked to your risks. And then there's also
Yeah.
a risk experience one. But I think most of our clients will always go and customize their own ones by creating one called risk incidents or fruitless and wasteful expenditure, or the specific one that they need.
Okay. No. Thank you. Thanks for that, hey?
Thank
Brilliant
you, Mari.
presentation.
Thank
Thanks.
you. It's a pleasure. Thank you. I think, Kulapile, you were next. You can go for it.
Hi. I see that you have tip-offs as a type of incident registers that can be created. So my question is, okay, in my organization, you'll find that the tip-offs are managed in internal audit. So if I go to the ERM module and create a tip-off register, wouldn't other people who have access to the ERM module then have access to those tip-offs?
So they will have access to the tip-off functionality, but only the owners and the originators of those incidents or the tip-offs that you're going to create will have access to that. So you can limit with permissions. You can say, if you are not an owner or an originator on that tip-off, you will not have access to it and you will not see it within the relevant register. Remember, you can also create a separate unit where you can go and log these tip-offs if you wanted to, and you can have unit-specific permissions on that unit as well. So only, for example, if you say internal audit users should have access to that, you can only give those that unit that access, and then let's say, for example, the normal risk management team will not be able to access that or view that.
Oh, okay. No, thank you.
Thank you. All right. I see another hand. Emil, you can go for it.
Good morning, Lizelle. Good morning, colleagues. My name is Emil Korp, Pieter Municipality. Lizelle, my question is coming from an insurance management perspective, as currently our whole insurance register is hosted in Microsoft Excel. So we've been threatening to convert into this BarnOwl incident management for some time now, and I think the time has come for us to go into action. I've just got a couple of questions. You might have already mentioned it during the presentation, so just bear with me, please. In the risk incident capturing phase, is it possible to pre-populate the selections with drop-downs linked to the different insurance categories as per your insurance portfolio, and let's say property combined or theft, etc. And that would then subsequently populate fields linked to the excess deductibles linked to that insurance categories. That's my first question. And my second question is, we are currently compelled to provide monthly reports to our finance portfolio committee linked to new incidents registered and incidents closed, and also report to them the amount of public liability claims, for example, registered and open. So I would assume BarnOwl can also provide reports and extracts which we can present to them. Thank you.
Thanks, Emil. So to answer your first question, yes, we can create the custom fields pre-populated with a drop-down arrow. I think I did that for, sorry, I have one or two smaller examples here, but let me just quickly see. Yeah, I just want to open up one. So don't look at the content necessarily of that, but, oh, this one is not a good one. Let me just quickly open up the last event one. But yes, you can, let's quickly see here. No, I don't have one. Oh, this one is an example. So there where it says review status, it's a drop-down arrow with pre-populated answers in there. So 1, 2, and 3, and you can then go and select it. The different types of fields that can be created is also, list views where you could maybe select multiple ones. And then if you, like you said, if you select ready for management comment here in this example, we could go and create fields that says, if you select this option, then you have to complete the next 3 fields, So there's definitely that can definitely be done. And then to answer your second question around reports, absolutely. So we can either use SSRS reports functionality, which is SQL Server reporting services, to create customized reports according to your needs. We can also use Power BI, which I've displayed, and then you can do normal extracts, of course, from the system as well. I have to say, almost every single one of our clients that use the incident management module, we have developed customized reports for them, for the simple reason that everybody has their own custom fields and they want to filter and view things in their own different ways. But the answer to both your answers is yes, Emile. And I agree. I think it's time to move away from Excel and into BarnOwl.
Thank you very much, Lizelle. Just one last question on that note. Our draft template for all of the fields that would need to be populated and created, what would be the best route to go about this? Must we provide it to our own internal department, which is the risk department, to facilitate this with you, or can we perhaps liaise directly on the possibilities?
I think the first meeting would just be to look at the specific requirements. So I do include the risk management team as well, as they do know the software. And then from there you can determine, whether the risk management team would be needed going forward or not. So yeah, I think just a quick a scoping session with your account manager and the risk team will quickly determine, which steps need to be taken further. Thank you. Thanks, Emile. The next one, let me just quickly see, Topo.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, two quick ones. The first one I'm adding on to what Kiolopile was asking. Because I understand about the tip-offs. So what happens if they are not administered, like this administration of the system sits somewhere else? Would the administrator not be able to see into those tip-offs, who raised the tip-off, the details of the tip-off, and or tamper with the tip-offs on BarnOwl? And then when you were showing us the risk incident and all of that, maybe I missed it, but I observed that you type in the risks. Is it possible to have the risks like a drop down from the risk register within BarnOwl that we can pick on so as to minimize human error when working on BarnOwl?
All right. So just to answer your first question about permissions, administrators will have access to all units. So a person that's specifically set up as an administrator will have access to that to see the something like the tip-offs, but then everybody else can be limited with permissions so that they do not have access or can see those tip-offs. From a risk management perspective, remember you have to link it to an existing risk. So if I'm just viewing the risk register at the moment. So this is my risk register, and you will then go and link it to an existing risk. So not the other way around. So you're not going to first capture the incident and then go and link it to the risk. So the risk must exist in your register. You will then go and right click, create /link, and then go and capture that relevant incident to that specific risk. Does that answer your question?
Very much. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you. I do not see any further hands at the moment. I hope my team has answered some of your questions within the chat box. I see there has been a lot of activity there. If we have not addressed your question, maybe just quickly, if you wouldn't mind, just to raise your hand, and then we can quickly address that before we close off. All right, I don't see any further hands. Thank you very much for attending this session. The recording will be made available with a write-up of today's spotlight within the next few days, so you can check out our website. And of course, there's always very valuable articles and links on our website that can be handy. I've seen a few links have been posted in the chat box, so please feel free to look at those as well. And then you must all have a lovely day further, and thank you for attending the session.